fingers crossed that maybe that will be soon.
All right, I will watch for the guest.
Okay, and I haven't gotten any messages saying that that was going to be an issue today, but we'll go ahead and get started. Sorry about all this. We've got, we're having a USDA management evaluation on our schools programs that started this morning. And we are also having a state audit right now, all at the same time. So much fun, just like you all are having so much fun. No, I'm just kidding. So today's just our general bi-weekly call, but we missed the 2 week ago because of the call 2 weeks ago because of the weather. Everybody was basically kind of snowed under and maybe a little bit frozen. I think we're all thawed out now, and I hope everyone is well and that none of you sustained, I'm hoping none of you sustained any sort of damage, but I do realize that probably isn't very realistic. So I hope that it was minimal and that everybody is good. We are supposed to have a special guest today, and we're hoping that will still take place. I haven't gotten word that they had to cancel. So just kind of hoping there might be some technical difficulties. As we all know, there can be with Zoom and Teams and all that stuff that we seem to have to do now. So I'll go ahead and go on with the PowerPoint, and if we're able to get that person on, we will. Well, there, that blew our special guest. Dana, go back to it. So our special guest was supposed to be Superintendent Hoffmeister today. I'm still hoping she'll be on. But I also know that she gets called into some very last minute meetings with CDC, all kinds of people right now. She's as busy as all of us. So we'll go ahead and move straight on. Just as a reminder, the verification report is in CARS. All schools must complete certain parts of the verification report in CARS, in the CARS systems, including provision and CEP. And I do understand that we've had server issues today, so we apologize for that. We always try to let you all know as soon as possible when we do have those issues. They were started out down this morning, we got them back up, and they went back down. So bear with us. They're doing the best they can. But once that does get back up, I know you guys are wanting to file claims too, but verification report will be back up as well. As you can see on the PowerPoint, the report must have a gold lock. This means the report has been approved by our office. And those of you that have not done it up to this point, your claims access has been locked until this is complete. That is because we have a report that's due to USDA on the 15th of this month. So we have to have all those done so that we can submit our report. Okay, next slide, please. I don't know that I have control over the slides. So, okay, the low income report. USDE did issue guidance on this, but what we are trying to determine now is our legal is looking over it. So to make sure that we do the right thing by the schools for this. So we are one step closer to being able to let you know, but as of right now, I can't give you any more information on that, but we're hoping it will be well before the next call. So next slide, Dana. And just as another reminder for OCAS coding, if you're operating SSO or SFSP, you need to code according to the program you're operating. And on the slide it says, SSO will use the same codes as National School Lunch, which is Project 763 for lunch and 764 for breakfast and 000 for local funds received. You probably aren't getting much local funds right now, unless maybe you're doing a la carte. And reminder that summer food service program, you use Project 766. So just as a reminder, you've got to code to the program you are doing. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, there has been it's called Project Switch, and it's an assessment and that they've sent out. It's another department in our agency, Child Nutrition Needs Assessment. They did it back in the kind of fall, and now they're trying to do another assessment for it. So there is, this link is posted in CARS under other documents under the heading COVID-19 for 2021, and then the actual assessment, if you would be so kind as to go do that little survey, it's called Child Nutrition Needs Assessment Results Spring of 2021. So we would appreciate if you all would be willing to go in and do that, not only for us, but also for the program that's implementing this Project Switch. And Dana, next. Okay, so these waivers so far are only good until June 30th of 2021 to continue seamless summer SSO or summer feeding SFSP. We had a call with USDA last week, I believe. My days are kind of, might have been during the snow. I think, anyway, doesn't matter when it was, but they did tell us they've received no guidance regarding when or if these waivers will be extended. So right now, make sure if you're doing SSO, make sure your January through June is checked. If you're going to continue SSO into June, that would be done in CARS under the SSO site application. And then if you're planning on serving after July and you meet the qualifications to go ahead and serve, you can do that, but you won't be able to do the application for July until CARS opens up the 1st of July, because July 1 starts the beginning of FY22 for school districts.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Our special guest has been given co-host.
Superintendent Hoffmeister, are you there?
I am. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. And it's so good to be able to join you and everyone who has just probably felt like they have hardly been able to come up for air, and we're already talking about next summer. So I just want to thank those of you who are really meeting such an important need in the lives of our school children and families. As we know, this has really been truly unprecedented, and that sounds like a tired word, but it's so fitting. We have had to be so flexible, and you have led in that work. It's not gone unnoticed, and I just want to thank you so much. We all know in education that we have to meet the needs of the whole child, and that includes physical nutrition and the ability to grow physically and nurture young minds. And that we know is part of also providing important support for us to build on. And I can't imagine doing this work without you, and taking time to just thank you for all the extraordinary level of detail and process, and being very precise and specific in meeting all of the requirements of and many people don't appreciate the various complications and requirements that go into the work you do, but thank you because you make it just like happen under the surface. We know you are working hard, and it all looks like you just glide through day to day. And so I just wanted to pop in, don't want to take too much of your time, but just say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And there are so many people who appreciate you, and I want to be able to represent all of them. If we were together, I'd give like a giant group hug right now and just say, you know, be empowered, and I hope you get extra refueling somehow to be able to continue to deliver. Take care of yourselves. We need you, and you are a blessing all across this state.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on and taking the time to thank them for all their hard work, because they have been through a lot. They're not used to doing this. Like, nobody's really used to doing anything in a pandemic, but they have really just really risen up and handled making sure that kids in their community are fed. So we appreciate that time you've taken to thank them.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Jennifer, and the whole team in child nutrition. You guys are just like warriors for child nutrition, and not just for children, we understand as well, but the work you do is truly just what keeps and fuels everyone and keeps us going. So thanks again.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we'll go back to this slide about SSO and SFSP. So thank you, everyone. She truly does appreciate what you're doing. She truly believes in child nutrition and making sure the children are fed. We all know that the kids do learn better, even though we're in an unprecedented time. Like she said, that just seems like a word we've all been using. But even though no matter how they're going to school right now, they still need good nutrition. So thank you for what you're doing. let me get back to where I was. Sorry. If you're planning on, in July, you can't do your SSO application for July until the new application rolls out around the first part of July for school year. Believe it or not, 21-22 is not far down the road. The only waivers that will be available as of right now after June 30th are the monitoring waivers, which will still allow us as a state agency, if we need to do desk reviews, we can still do desk reviews in all of our programs. Allows you to do some monitoring by desk review if needed. If you're able to go do them on site, that is encouraged. That is ensuring program integrity. But if there's a occurrence of COVID or something that doesn't make it safe for you to be able to do that, then you have that ability to do them by a desk review, remotely, FaceTime, something. But do get them done. This also applies to the area eligibility waiver for National School Lunch, summer feeding, and CACFP. As you know, right now we have the flexibility until June 30th for schools that don't meet the 50% free and reduced site requirement for our programs to operate right now. And that applies to quite a few of you, including our childcare. And I know this isn't a childcare call, but it does include them as well. So as of right now, that does expire June 30th. So if you're going to continue SSO or SFSP, after June 30th, if you have a site that does not meet the 50% free and reduced site requirement, you can't claim meals at those sites. So again, as soon as we are to hear something about these potential maybe being extended, we have no idea, we will let you know. And I feel, my gut tells me if they choose to do this, it's going to be a last minute thing, like several things popped up in regards to waiver extensions back in the fall. We just found out about it one day. No warning. So, but as soon as we hear something, we would let you know. Okay, there was a memo that came out several weeks ago. It may have even been close to a month, but there's some child nutrition program emergency operating cost funding that USDA has implemented and is allowing, and we are opting into it as a state. It was something that the state agencies had to opt into, and we are doing this. And we are in the process. We have multiple plans we have to submit for approval. We've submitted our first one. We're working on our second one. It's not due until April. But basically, this funding requires our agency, Child Nutrition at SDE, to compare your reimbursement for March through June of 2019 to the reimbursement for the same months of 2020. If there was an increase in reimbursement for 2020, so if your reimbursement was higher in 2020 than it was in 2019 under the programs you're operating, there would be no additional funding. If it dropped, we multiply that by a set formula that USDA gave, which is 0.55 of that total reimbursement, and that's the amount we get. We will be figuring that for you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to opt into it. The one thing we are getting clarification on is if you are given money in this emergency funding, you most likely, we don't know for sure, will have to supply us with what you will use that for, and it has to be for allowable CNP costs. But as soon as we find that out for sure, we will let you know. And again, we're figuring it. We have opted into it. We are doing it, but it will be a process. Just know that. Okay, we're at the end. So we're going to give us a minute to scroll back in the chat, and we will, I don't want to miss anything. So we're going to,
before you start reading questions, I've got a couple things that some of the consultants had asked.
Okay,
that we bring up. One is to remind the schools that there will be no paid lunch equity tool that they will have to do this spring for the next school year, because most of you did not serve National School Lunch full paid meals, and that's what the PLE is figured on. So don't worry about the PLE tool being done this year. And then we're looking for some locations to do some farm to school meetings with about probably 30 to 35 people. We're looking, and this is on the eastern side of the state. One we're wanting to do in the Bartlesville area and one in the Durant area. So if anybody's on the call that you have a facility that we can use free of charge from the State Department of Ed, if you could give me or Jennifer an email and let us know. We've checked a couple places, and because of COVID, we're having some issues. And so we thought maybe on the call we would reach out a little bit and see if you guys had anything, any school or something. It will be during the summer. It will be during June. So you typically, may have a building that we could use and we could use safely, and maybe we could work out some of those details. And then on the project switch, the surveys have already been completed. What that slide was, and I'm sorry, I threw that in there on Jennifer. The survey has already been completed. That is the PowerPoint showing what the results of the spring survey were. We still had over 200 of you that responded to the survey. So you guys respond to surveys greatly, and we do appreciate that. So now we'll go ahead and get started on answering the questions.
Okay. So we'd answered no PLE for this year. That was one of the federal reports that USDA waived. So there were several that they waived, some that we do, some that you do, and PLE was one of them. Yes, Lisa, the same programs are compared for that time frame, whatever program yes, that is correct. And we'll be figuring all that up. So that is correct. The OCAS code for SSO breakfast and lunch would be the same as it is for NSLP, because SSO is a continuation of the NSLP program and SBP. And here Dana pulled the slide back up. So it's 763 for lunch and 764 for breakfast. So that's there. Well, we can't really give a definite timeline when cars will be back up. They're telling us they're working on it. We apologize for that. It even affects us. We can't get in it either right now. It affects everybody. And that even means that the people that are doing our USDA school ME right now, management evaluation, can't get in our systems to do what they need to do either. So it's kind of, tends to be an issue, but it's frustrating when it happens, and we understand that, but they are working on it. They take it very seriously. So CEP, you will need to pull that on. Let me look at my calendar real quick. I meant to have that date because that's a great thing. It's always updated on the first Monday of the month, but I would give it a day or two. So you're looking at like April 6th or 7th to check that and pull that. And we will be sending that out through cars and through the superintendent newsletter that we do and all that to make everybody aware. But yeah, about the 6th or 7th is normally just to be sure. So great question. Thanks for reminding us. We had talked about it in here, but forgot to include that on the call. What about our weekend or virtual meal boxes? Will we still be able to give those out this summer? Right now, all the current flexibilities are in place until June 30th of 2021. Anything after that, I have to tell you as of right now, we'll go back to normal, whatever normal is. But all those flexibilities end on June 30th, all of them. Congregate feeding, meal times, everything ends. So that's all I know as of right now, but it could change. Steve, great question. I know that USDA opened up their comment period back several months ago, and it's since closed. He's referring to the whole grain, the milk, and the sodium for next year. We have not been given any guidance on that as of yet. We're hopeful that it will allow you the flexibilities, but as of right now, we don't know. As soon as we know, we will make sure you all are aware of that as well. The new income guidelines for the next school year, I expect those any day. Those normally come out in March. So as soon as we get them, we do get those out to you all. So, but as of right now, we don't have them. We have not received them. So because we are in the process of updating all of our manuals, our child nutrition manual, we do that type of manual for all of our other programs as well. And so that has to be updated in there and we haven't received it yet. So great question. I'm to the end of my questions. Does anybody else want to put anything in the chat? Any questions?
We had one that said they would volunteer maybe the Ada area if we can't find anything in Durant. So Shanna Robertson, thank you.
Okay.
I made a note of that and I'm going to put you as my contact.
Okay, we'll take that back to our other people that are part of that Farm to School. It's a grant that we received to promote Farm to School. So, and so the training will involve farmers coming as well and learning, and you all. Can we stay on or apply for SFSP for next school year? Yes, you can. Yes. Yes, you would come July 1, basically, if you want to continue on summer feeding and your sites are over meet the eligibility requirements, the 50% and everything else that's involved there, you can continue. And we would encourage you, if you are able to continue to feed on, I guess I want to say the normal summer feeding, because we won't have any of those flexibilities, we would encourage that, absolutely. No, Jennifer, no new information on that right now. USDA had a comment period, it has closed, and we haven't heard any word. SFSP just for summer. Oh, correct, Nancy. Yes, correct. Summer feeding would just be for summer. As of right now, again, the flexibilities go away June 30th. So we go back to what we were doing prior to COVID. So back in February, and summer would just be summer, May through August. Yes. If we are approved now, can we continue doing anything else? Carrie, I'm not quite following what you're asking. I apologize. Oh, if you're approved for summer feeding right now, is there anything you'll need to do come June 30th? Well, you won't have the flexibilities of sending meals home. That you'll have to feed in a congregate setting altogether. So they won't have those flexibilities. Serving 2 meals at one time, you won't have that flexibility. You'll have to do breakfast during the breakfast time and lunch during the lunch time. Those type of flexibilities that you currently have won't be allowed after June 30th if they don't extend the flexibility of the waivers. I hope that answers your question, Carrie. Do we know when claims will be paid? Well, as soon as we can get the server up and claims can be entered, we do plan on paying claims this week. We did receive our funding. That's been the holdup. We've had some funding issues. USDA hasn't given us our funding, is pretty much what the holdup's been. Helen, Dee, if you're on the call, could you please send Helen at Bixby the link to the summer food training, or just send it out again in the SFSP website for them, please? Dee, is that just for school year training? If we're going to continue in July, will there be more trainings for them? And Dee, if you're on the call, I think I saw your name earlier. Jessica has a question for you in there regarding training. The training that she's doing now will cover summer feeding now and summer feeding after the flexibilities end. Danielle, would that be NSLP? I just got into this position in January and not familiar with anything but summer food. Danielle, can you put in the chat what school district you're with, and we'll make sure that we get your area consultant out there or get you that information to be in touch with them so you know what to do. And I believe we probably have, we'll have some trainings coming up as well, and we'll make sure you get those. Just go ahead and put that school district in the chat, please. Yeah, we're paying this week, Kim. No, but Nancy, if we are approved for summer feeding now and qualify for 50%, do we need to apply for July 2020 21, again, no. But you do need to make sure your application in summer feeding goes through to wherever you want to end, be it the end of July or August, but you won't have to do another application. Summer feeding is on a different timeline than NSLP and SPP. Dee will get with you, Helen and Jessica. Have you had a chance to send out the civil rights posters for those that requested them? Yeah, those went out a while back. So Stephanie, are you still at Piedmont? I think you are. How many do you need? I could be wrong. I think you're still there. Dana, are you taking notes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Danielle Cushing, we'll make sure Kristen gets in touch with you.
Kristen answered her and said she would contact her. So Kristen's on the call. Thank you.
Yep, I do see that. Okay, what is the deadline to turn in application for summer feeding if we choose to do that for May and June instead of SSO? You just need to go ahead and get with Dee and start filling out your application. Laura, yeah, just get with Dee. She'll get you going. Okay, Laura Shoto. Dana, Laura would like to talk about that farm to school, then Shoto.
Okay, I got it. Farm to school.
Okay, Piedmont needs 5. Okay, gotcha, Stephanie. Okay, Westville, all right. Interesting, okay. Are we still allowed to give, whoa, it's jumping on me, sorry. Are we still allowed to give breakfast through June 30th? Yeah, through summer feeding or SSO, you can give the breakfast and lunch at the same time because we have the mealtime flexibility and they can take it with them right now because we have the non-congregate feeding flexibility. So yes, till June 30th as of right now. Okay. Dee did put the link in the chat. But we'll also get it sent out in the system as well so that you have it. Shelley Gleerup, I hope I didn't pronounce your, oh, what school district, Shelley? Quapaw, okay. Gotcha. Okay, anybody else have any questions? We're towards the end, or we are at the end. No more have popped up. Yep, we'll get them to you. Karen, we'll get them to you. Okay, no PLE this year. That was waived. USDA waived several reports and PLE was one of them. Anybody else? Still nothing on low income, but I think we're one step closer, so bear with us. Yes, we are kind of excited about that too, Patty. Because you all have to do them, but we have to approve them. So, okay, well, we're at the end. I don't want to keep anybody. We're all busy. And we will plan, unless we need to sooner, we'll plan for a call in 2 weeks. Thanks for being on the call. Right now, we're looking at going ahead and keeping them on Mondays. Seems to be the best date for us, as much as I hate to say that. But we will, I think that's what we're going to plan on doing. And so typically Mondays are open, whereas the rest of the week is pretty full. And yes, spring break is in 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. So let me ask you this, if you haven't gotten off, are you all going to serve over spring break? Do you plan on providing meals for spring break? I know that'll be a question that we're asked. Oh,
No. It's coming up quick. No. Wow. I see a few yeses though popping in.
Do you? Okay, I see one.
Yeah, one or two have popped through the chat. Everyone
plan on serving during spring break meals, giving meals over spring break. So I think there's more no's in there than yeses.
I see there are way more no's than yeses.
And I understand you guys deserve a break. I agree with you. And if that's what you guys decide, then that's what you guys decide. So, okay. All right. Okay.
Someone asked about the PowerPoint. Yes, we will post the PowerPoint. Soon as I get the link back from having it closed caption, we'll put the link so you can listen to the recorded call, plus have the PowerPoint all at the same time. Also, just a quick reminder to all of you guys, and I know you guys are mostly like preaching to the choir, remember production records, remember your 3-week monitoring form. If you've not already done that and your consultant has not been out, go ahead and get that completed and in your file for SSO. Production records, the monitoring form, meeting meal patterns. We're still seeing schools that are not meeting meal patterns. Just because it's a pandemic, meal patterns as a whole were not waived. And then if you needed a waiver for a meal pattern, those were on individual components, not individual items. So it wasn't a meal pattern waiver for green beans. It had to be for the whole component, vegetable component. You had to exhaust all avenues of trying to get vegetable component. So remember that when you're thinking about your meal patterns. And you've got to be meeting the meal patterns no matter what program you're running. So just keep that in mind, everyone. I think that was some of the things the consultants wanted us to.
Yeah, several of you have asked, I apologize. Yes, 2 weeks is spring break, which would be our next call. So we will just plan on Monday, the 22nd. We will not have a call over spring break. If we need to get to you prior to that, we will make sure we get something scheduled if we were to get whatever waiver changes or anything like that. We'll make sure that you all know, but no, we are not going to have a call over spring break. But Monday, March 22nd will be the next call. Yes, you guys deserve a break. Okay, so I think we've answered everything. I don't think anything popped back up. The monitoring form. Sherry, what monitoring form? Summer feeding, SSO.
The SSO monitoring form should be in CARS under the SSO tab under other documents. They were also emailed out when we originally approved your SSO application. So, you know, if you can't find it, email one of us here in the office and we can get it to you pretty quick.
Steve, I don't know. That's a Gina question. Will commodities be swept on June 30th? I honestly don't know. I'm going to defer you to her because I don't want to give you any wrong information because she's our commodity guru. Okay, and D, put in the chat real quick to show you where you can find the summer feeding forms. It's sde.ok.gov summer food. So anyway, okay, I think that does.
One more thing, Jennifer,
okay.
Just popped into my head.
That's okay.
Food Service Management Company monitoring forms were not waived this year. So you schools that are with a Food Service Management Company are still responsible for completing the Food Service Management Company monitoring form. We've got a monitoring form for everything. So, you know, make sure you've completed your required monitoring forms.
Keep in mind, this is a federal program, and so there's paperwork involved. I think we can all agree on that statement. Okay, I do think we are now at the end. So we will say, again, thank you for all you're doing. We appreciate it. And we will plan on March 22nd at 1:30 unless something comes up and we need to get with you all sooner. Have a great spring break. Thank you for everything you all continue to do. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys later and take care. Stay safe.